Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So today we are going to learn a new chapter, okay, chapter 2. So let's look at um, chapter 2, development of multimedia project. Okay, so in this chapter 2, what we are going to look at the contents of the chapters are stage of a multimedia project. Okay, the second part is requirement for a multimedia project, what we need when we want to develop a multimedia project, and also the team. Okay, so multimedia team. Alright, so the first one is stage of multimedia project. So basically, there are 4 stages of when we want to develop a multimedia project. Okay, the first stage is planning and costing. Okay, the second stage is design and production. The third stage is testing, and the fourth one is delivery. So once we have done with planning and costing, then we start to design and produce the multimedia project. Once we produce, we need to test, okay? And if everything's okay, it's time to deliver our multimedia project to the user. Okay, so in planning and costing, uh, we are talking about the needs of a project to be analyzed by outlining its message and objective. Okay, so we need to sit with our client, okay, to make sure that we know what is the objective of that project. Okay, so of course it's based on the user requirement, what the client wants from that project. Okay, so a plan that outlines the required multimedia expertise is prepared. So we need to know from that requirement, from the objective. Okay, once we know what is the objective of that project, what the client needs. Okay, then from there we can plan. Okay, who's the expertise that should be in our team. Okay, and then we need from there, a graphic template, the structure, and the navigational system are developed. So from there, then we know what kind of structure that we are going to use. Either it is linear, hybrid, and so on. Okay, and then we also need to prepare the budget and time estimate. Okay, time estimation. So we need to know, within 3 months or within 6 months, okay, and how many budget do we need for this project. Okay, so everything is clearly planned. Okay, uh, and then a short prototype or proof of concept is prepared. For example, you want to develop an application, educational application. Okay, so to make sure that our client is clear about the end product, for example, okay, so maybe we can prepare a prototype, okay, or at least, for example, if we want to develop a video, for example, so we can start with storyboard. That's the example. Okay, so we need to plan, and it's very important in any multimedia project to start with planning and costing. Okay, so prototype development. So prototype development is also known as proof of concept or feasibility study. Okay, so this prototype development involves testing of the initial implementation of the ideas. Okay, building mock-up interfaces. So for example, if we want to develop an educational application, for example, we can build a mock-up interface first. Maybe not too details, but with all the button function, for example, okay, so that the user or the client can see how it goes. Okay, and exercising the hardware platform, right? And trial calculation are possible after prototyping. That means once we have done with prototype doesn't mean that it is the end product. No. Okay? We can have try and error. So maybe this interface is not too good, then we can change it, okay, until we get the last product. Okay? So during prototype development, A written report and an analysis of budget allow the client some flexibility and also provide a reality check for developers. That means, for example, if we need some extra tools, for example, so maybe we need to add some cost. Okay, so before we do the real project, we can let our client know that okay, if this is our prototype, so if you want to add that tool, for example, you need to add extra cost. So if the client does not agree with that cost, okay, we can say okay, that means this is done. Okay, this is just okay for you. So we don't have to add extra cost. If we add, okay, without the client's permission, what's happened? We need to bear with the cost. Okay, so we don't want that to happen, right? And then during the product development, we need to know that we have alpha development and beta development. So what does it mean by alpha development? At alpha development stage, the investment of effort increase and become more focused. So in our team, there are few members who work in one project, okay, in one multimedia project, okay. So and it also based on their expertise. If, for example, audio specialist, video specialist, multimedia programmer, multimedia writer, for example, okay. So they focus on their expertise only, on the area only. Okay, so that's why they said that more people get involved. Okay, so once we have done with alpha development, okay, they will do the testing part. Okay, they will do the testing part. Okay, after alpha development, they have the alpha testing. So later on, we will look at what is that, what does it mean by alpha testing. Okay, so once alpha testing is done, okay, from that result, they will continue with beta development. Okay, so during beta development, most of the features of a project are functional. Okay, are functional. So less error. Okay, less error during beta development. The testing is done by a wider arena of testers. Okay, so first we have alpha development, and then we followed by alpha testing, and then move to beta development, and then followed by beta testing. Okay, the second stage is design and production. Okay, so there are four fundamental organizing structure. Okay, the first one is linear, the second one is hierarchical, non-linear, and composite. Okay, either one compass is okay, but basically there are four fundamental organizing structure. Okay, so in linear, for linear, okay, linear structure, the users navigate sequentially from one frame of information to another. What does it mean by this is, for example, we have this is the content, for example. Okay, so linear means the user navigate sequentially from this page to this one and goes to this one. They can go back and then from here to here and from here to here. Go back to the previous slide, for example, previous scene. Okay, this is what we call as linear. Okay, so user navigate sequentially from one frame of information to another. Okay, the second one is non-linear. Users navigate freely through the content, unbound with predetermined routes. So what do you mean by non-linear? Okay, so for non-linear, okay, user can go to this frame, for example, and or to this frame, and from this to this frame, and from here to here, for example, okay, and for example, it has another frame here. So from here, it can move here, for example. So this is non-linear, okay? So the users navigate freely, okay, through the content unbound by predetermined routes. There is no previous, go sequentially, no. Okay, that's the difference between linear and non-linear. All right, so for the third one, hierarchical, users navigate along the branches of a tree structure. Okay, so when we are talking about tree structure, you can imagine like this. Okay, so for example, we have this is tree structure. So from here, we have another frame here, or we can choose this frame or this frame. Okay, so from here, maybe it has another two more frame. Okay, so this is what we call as hierarchical. Okay, so the users navigate along the branches of a tree structure that is shaped by the natural logic of the content. Okay, so it is also called linear with branching. So you can see this is linear, right? Because sequentially. Okay, so from here dia tak boleh move, jump to this frame directly. Okay, so this is what we call as hierarchical. Okay, now the fourth one is composite. So composite means users may navigate non-linearly but are occasionally constrained to linear presentation. Okay, the users can navigate non-linear, okay, and go anywhere, but are occasionally constrained to linear presentation. Okay, so let's see one by one about this structure. Okay, so this is linear structure. Okay, so when we are talking about four fundamental organizing structure, how we organize the content. Okay, how we organize the content in our multimedia project. Okay, so for linear, the users control the content sequentially. Okay, sequentially. Okay, the first one. The second one, okay, the second one hierarchical. So this is we can see this is a tree structure. Okay, tree structure, a linear but having branches. Okay, linear but having branches. The third one is non-linear. So the user freely navigate. Okay, navigate freely the content. Okay, can move here and there without any constraint, without any predetermined content. Okay, and then the fourth one is composite. Okay, so the users can navigate freely or non-linearly. Okay, but more to presentation, predetermined presentation. Okay, so we can see they can move from here to here. Okay, between these or between these. Okay, okay, and then sign off. What we have here, sign off tree structure here, right? So this is what we call as composite. Okay, like combination. Okay, for composite. So hierarchical here, we can see hierarchical here. We have non-linear here. Okay, non-linear here. Hierarchical here. So kind of combination. So these are four fundamental organizing structure. Okay. Okay. The third stage is testing. Okay. Why testing is important? Okay, so why testing is important is actually to make sure that this project or that project, that the developed project meets the objective of the project. Okay, meets the client's requirement. Okay, and then works on the proper delivery platform. So need to make sure this. We need to make sure that our project meets everything. Okay, meets all the requirements needed. Okay, that's why testing is very important. Okay, now it is important to test and review a project to ensure that it is bug free. Bug free means no error. Okay, bugs free means no error. Okay, so accurate and operationally and visually on target. So make sure that, for example, you want to produce or to develop an educational application, you need to make sure that when you click on image button, for example, it will display image or it will go to the correct frame. Okay, so it must be accurate and definitely operationally and functionally, okay, and visually on target. The second one is the reputation of developer or company is not damaged by a premature or erroneous release. Yeah, of course. For example, you as the developer, multimedia development team, okay, you need to make sure that your project is everything's okay. Okay, your project is everything's okay. So, if you have a small error, okay, small error happens, or just a silly error, okay, so it will damage your reputation. Okay. The third one is the client's requirement have been met, to make sure that, okay, all the requirements are met. Okay. And then cross-platform issues are addressed by comprehensive testing on different hardware and software platform. If your project or your multimedia project, okay, uh, you said that it can be run on Android, it can be run on Mac, it can be run on Windows, for example, Kindle, okay, you need to make sure that during testing, you need to test on different platforms, okay. So if you promise that, yeah, my project or this project, this educational project, okay, this educational application can be run via or on Windows or on Mac, okay, Macintosh platform. But without testing, okay, without testing, might probably that project or that application cannot be run on those platforms. So that's very dangerous, okay, to release a project without testing. Okay, so it's very important to test and review the project to make sure that it is bug free, accurate and operationally, to make sure that the reputation of the developer, the company is not damaged, to make sure that the client's requirement has been met, and also to make sure that there is no cross-platform issues. Okay, there is no cross-platform issue. So there are three types of testing. That's what I said before. When we develop the project, okay, we're going through alpha development and beta development. So once we have done with alpha development, it will followed by alpha testing. So for alpha testing, this is alpha release. Alpha release means the first working draft of a project. Okay, once you develop the prototype, you develop the early stage of the project. Okay, so we call it as alpha release. So we need to make sure that we go into alpha testing. Okay, we need to run the alpha testing. So alpha release of a project is only for internal circulation. For example, you have a team, so you need to make sure that your team, okay, your in-house, okay, we call it as alpha testing is usually done by in-house, okay, which is the testing is done by the team members. So these team members, they actually know about the project. They actually know about the structure of the project, okay. So alpha testing is actually in-house testing, okay, among the team members. So, so alpha release are expected to have problems or to be incomplete. Okay, why expected to have problems? First, after we have done the alpha testing, okay, so because the team members already know about the structure of the project. Okay, for example, we cannot press this one. If we press this one, it will go to wrong frame, for example. So they know about the structure. So maybe during testing, they avoid that. Okay, they jump or they skip the testing that part. Okay, for example, because they know about the structure, right? Uh, so expected to have problems. Okay, and then once we have done with this alpha release, okay, we have done with alpha testing, then we have the alpha release. So then we go into the second development, which is development stage, which is beta development. Okay, once the beta development is actually to make sure that they do debug. Okay, make sure that they can solve all the bugs exist in alpha testing. Okay, they found the bug and then they write the report. So during beta development, they will solve the bug. Okay, the error. Okay, okay. Once they solve the error, then they go to beta testing. So beta testing is done with a wider array of testers. So usually these beta testers represent the real user. Okay, represent the real user. Okay, so these testers should be people who were not involved in the actual production. So when they are not involved in the real production, the actual production, that means they don't know about the structure. Okay, they don't know about the project structure. They don't know about the what happened during the development. So maybe just, for example, for that educational application, they just press here and there. Okay, they just press here and there. Okay, so from there, they can find if there is any bug. Okay, and then the beta level bugs are typically less virulent than alpha bugs. Okay, and very quite rare. Okay, so managing beta test feedback is very critical. Okay, once they have done with beta testing, of course, they will have the final development stage, okay, to make sure that they debug, okay, the beta development, okay, during beta development, okay, they solve any error exists during beta testing, okay. Last, they have final release. So the terms such as bronze or release candidate are used to identify products that are near completion. Okay, and then the final release product, the final release version is usually called the gold master. That means this is the end product. Okay, this is the product that we want to deliver to the user, to the client, right? So delivery. Okay, this is the first stage of multimedia development, delivery. So the final project is packaged and delivered to the end user. So when we are talking about the package, if you want to deliver to a CD, so they need to package in CD, or else maybe you want to um, send, okay, to net, for example, to internet, and so on. Okay, so the final project is packaged and delivered to the end user. Okay, so next part is requirement for a multimedia project. Okay, so there are three things that are very important. That's very important for multimedia project to develop a multimedia project. The first one is hardware. The second one is software. The third one is creativity and organizational skill. Okay, so let's look at one by one. All right, so first is hardware. The most significant platform for producing and delivering multimedia projects are Macintosh OS and Microsoft Windows. Okay, and usually I actually use Microsoft Windows only. Okay, but if you have Macintosh operating system, this is better, okay, especially for multimedia development project. Okay, so these both systems provide an easy to use graphical user interface, both of uh, Mac or Windows. Okay, however, the Macintosh platform is better suited for multimedia production than the Windows platform. Okay, we cannot deny this fact. All right. The second thing that is important is software. Of course, we need the software to make sure that because of multimedia software provides specific instructions to the hardware for performing tasks. Okay, so software tools are divided into production tools and authoring tools. So we know that the example of production tools, for example, Photoshop, Illustrator, okay, Audacity, Premiere, Premiere Pro, for example, After Effects, okay, these are the example of production tools. Okay, what about the authoring tools? So authoring tools is important to merge all the multimedia elements into a multimedia project, right? Okay, so the example of authoring tools are Adobe Flash, Adobe Animate, CC, okay? So these are the examples of authoring tools. So remember that production tool is actually the specific tool for specific element, okay? But authoring tool is used, okay, to merge all the multimedia elements into a multimedia project, okay? The third part is creativity and organizational skill. So we know that in a multimedia project, being creative implies knowledge of hardware and software. So is creativity, is anybody should born with creativity, or only the people who born with creativity can be success in multimedia? No, of course not. Okay. creativity can be learned. Okay, okay, we can actually gain these skills. Okay, uh, during the learning process. So that's why we said that being creative implies knowledge of hardware and software. If you know how to use the correct hardware and correct software, then you might be creative enough. Okay, so it is essential to develop an organized outline detailing the skill, time, budget, tools, and resources needed for the project. Okay, that one is in organizational skill. Okay, so we need to plan. We need to know how to plan the skill. Okay, we have a project. Okay, to develop that project, we need to know what type of skills that we want to be in our team. Okay, so from there we know the expertise that should be in our team, right? And also time. Okay, budget to make sure that we are not over budget. Okay, tools and so on. All right. So these are three requirements that are very important when we want to develop a multimedia project, which are hardware, software, and creativity and organizational skill. Okay? I really hope that you understand about this. Very simple. Okay, done with part 2. This is the last part, part 3. Okay? So we will look at the team. Who should be in the multimedia project development? Alright, so team of skilled individuals is required to create a good multimedia project. Okay, a team of skilled individual is required to create a good multimedia project. So, in order to make sure that all of our members function at optimum level, that's why we need team building. Okay, before we start any project, we need team building. What is meant by team building? Team building refers to the activities that help a group and its members function at optimal level. Okay, so during team building, you can discuss everything about the activity, about the roles. Okay, for example, about the project. Okay, you can brainstorm about the idea of the project and so on. Okay, so like before you start your group project later on, you can have a team building first. Okay, now, and then the diverse range of skill required for a project is called the multimedia skill set. So what is meant by multimedia skill set? Multimedia skill set means the diverse range of skill required for a project. Okay, there is no individual skill. In a multimedia skill set means the diverse range of skill, various skills required for a project. Okay, so the multimedia team members consist of the following: project manager, multimedia designer, interface designer, writer, video specialist, audio specialist, multimedia programmer, producer for the web, computer programmer. So let's look at one by one. Okay, project manager. In every single multimedia project should have project manager. It is compulsory. So make sure in your project letter, you need to make sure that you have one project manager. Okay, one project manager. So what is the role for project manager? This project manager should know very familiar with the overall development, implementation, and day-to-day operation of the project. Okay, he or she should know every single development process. Okay, so the overall development, implementation, day-to-day operation of the project. Okay, for example, if one of the members are on leave, okay, this project manager should know. Okay, if the one of the designer has some changes on some interface, for example, this project manager should know. Okay, they should discuss with project manager. If there is any changes or anything, they need to report to project manager. Okay, this project manager should know the design and management of a project, everything. Okay, and he or she should understand the strength and limitation of hardware and software. For example, this hardware, what is the spec for the hardware? Okay, or what is the platform? They should know. Okay, and then ensuring people skill and organizational skill. If you have team members, for example, okay, you know that as a project manager, you know that this person A is very good in audio editing. Okay, but somehow you want him or her to help uh, B, okay, with interface designer, for example. Okay, and unfortunately, A know nothing about interface designer. So this project manager cannot do that mistake by appoint someone who does not have the skill to do the task. Okay, that's why it is important for the project manager to know his or her team members. Okay, and then convey information between the team and the client. Who will meet the client? Of course, project manager. He will not bring all the team members to meet the or to have a meeting with the client. Usually, he will represent the team, the developer team. Okay, right. That's why he need to know the overall development of the project. Multimedia designer. Okay, so when we are talking about multimedia designer, he is actually the one who structure the content, all the multimedia elements content, okay, such as video, motion of graphic, interactive content, okay. Uh, so he is the one, okay, who work with multimedia element content, okay. While for the interface designer create the structure into which the content are placed. Okay, so multimedia designer is create all the multimedia elements content. Okay, while the interface designer create the structure on which the content should be placed. Okay, so interface designer devise the navigational pathway and content map. All right, and then build a user-friendly interface. So he should control the view of how the interaction between user and the system. Okay, so that's the role for interface designer. Okay. Writer. So writer creates characters, action, point of view, and interactivity. So basically, usually the writer write the proposal and test print. Okay, scripting voiceovers and actors narration. Okay, scripting voiceover and actors narration. Okay, video specialist. So the delivery of video files on either DVD or the web. Okay, why it's important? Because before we start editing, okay, or before we start shooting, okay, we need to know first. We need to decide the delivery of the video files. Okay, why? Because the template size, for example, we need to determine first. Okay, so from there we can decide, okay, which template is the best. Okay, and then this video specialist should know how to shoot quality video. Okay, know how to transfer the video footage to a computer and know how to edit the footage down to a final product using non-linear editing system such as Premiere, for example. Okay, he or she should know how to use it. Okay. Next is audio specialist. So audio specialist should be the one who really familiar with all the music talent. Okay, locate and selecting suitable music talent, scheduling recording session. Okay, should be there because he is the one, she is the one, for example, she or he, okay, is the one who can control, okay, control the volume and so on during the recording session and digitizing and editing recorded material into computer files. So He will work, okay, specifically in audio editing, sound editing. Okay. Next is multimedia programmer. So multimedia programmer is all about integration, work with all about integration of the multimedia elements into a seamless project. So we know that when we are talking about the integrate all the multimedia elements into a seamless project, this multimedia programmer will work with authoring system or programming language. Okay, so he will write code for the display of multimedia elements and to control various peripheral devices. Okay, and manage timing, transition, and record keeping. So it will work. Okay, multimedia programmer will work with timeline lah. Okay, especially in authoring system. Okay. Producer for the web. So actually the producer for the web, they will put together all the coordinated set of page for the web. Okay. She or he will coordinate updates and changes. If there is any changes of the web, then this is the one of the role of producer of the web. In your case, in your project later on, I think producer for the web is not needed. Okay, not needed. All right. So I think that's all for chapter 2. Okay. So if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Okay. That means what? Teamwork is very important, right? So we need to know our team members. We need to know the skill that they have. Okay. For example, one of your team members are not quite familiar with animation, but another friend is very good in animation, but he has like or less skill in video editing, then that's okay. Okay, why? Because uh, that's why we need team. Okay, we need team members. Okay, maybe this person are very good in video editing. This person is very good in animation. This person are very good in sound, for example. Then we can work together. Okay, so don't worry about that. So that's all for chapter 2. If you have any question, okay, do ask. Okay. So that's all. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.